Monday, 4 p.m., James Ian Doley, not Landoli, oopsies. Wednesday, 4 p.m., investigative journalist Erica Lukes. Friday, 1 p.m., actor from the hit TV show Heels, Robby Ramos. Tuesday, 4 p.m. on the Singularity Lab with special guest Graeme Gaucho. And on Thursday, 4 p.m., The World of 2050 with Peter Layden. Fridays, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Shifting the Paradigm with Cristina Gomez. Come aboard, let's get weird on the Unidentified Celebrity Review.
Hello. There's got 27 of you waiting for the Unidentified Celebrity Review to begin. And it will in just a couple minutes. I'm Ratherby Switting. I'm here to ease you into the next 2 hours of entertainment. And it's going to be a great show today. Bringing the celebrity back to UCR, we have Robby Ramos joining us. Now, I'm really interested in his fresh take on all of this. And I'm interested to see how much method acting went into his role on STARZ' new show about professional wrestling, Heels. And, so you can all be focusing your attention 100% on that interview. You can trust that I will be behind the scenes hitting refresh on all of the major news networks out there towards the end of this first hour. There's a chance it may not just be a great show, but a truly historic one. We are just 1 week away from the UAP Task Force report deadline. Controversial reports like this are very often dropped at the end of the work week, allowing the media and public time to digest before fielding any questions. So, if the report is released early, many speculate it may be dropped today, around 5 p.m. Eastern Time, an hour from now. If that happens, well, I don't know. Despite lots of reporting on it, I still don't really know what to expect. 120 cases. Do you think we'll get details on them all? How many pages long are we expecting this to be? I really hope we get some answers soon. But either way, you want to keep your device tuned here to this channel and relax. I'll cut in if there is any breaking news this afternoon. So, you can put the report out of mind for now and enjoy the remaining calm before the storm. Imagine yourself in a time before you took the UAP topic seriously, if you even can. Many people are in that state of mind right now. The reality hasn't quite sunk in. What will these people's reactions be to the coming storm? Will they even know what hit them? Will they even care? We might get some insight into these questions today as Louise and Michael talk with Robby Ramos, someone who, isn't as versed or frankly obsessed with this topic as we all are. It'll be interesting. And, I think we're going to be leading Robby right down the rabbit hole. After the show, assuming we aren't all neck deep in the UAP Task Force report, I suggest Robby head over to my channel, Ratherby Switting, and look at some of my recent videos regarding the reports of fast walkers captured on satellites and a potential mechanism for powering these craft, time crystals. But first, we need to show him and others the entrance to the rabbit hole. Case for Infinity, I'm pretty sure you already know where that is. Hello to all of you. Jazz King, You Ought to Know, UFO. Had some good guests on your channel recently. To that end of leading people down the rabbit hole, I think we are ready to begin. Let's bring in your hosts of the Unidentified Celebrity Review and our guides through these turbulent times, Luis Jimenez and Michael Mataluni.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? What's going on, Rather? How you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, I'm stoked for this show, just like Jay.
I love the intro. I really do. I just get to sit back and I'm like, oh, what's today's show about? Thank you, Rather.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And it looks like the guest of honor just just stepped in, so I'll
We
I'll
got
bid
him
you
backstage.
farewell.
Very
I'm looking forward
excited.
to this.
All right, Rather, we'll catch you in a little bit. Hello, good morning, good evening, good day, good afternoon, and aloha. Welcome back to another episode of the Unidentified Celebrity Review, your home for credible news, reviews, and commentary on everything UAP and UFO. My name's Luis Jimenez. That is Michael Mataluni. Today we have a really wonderful guest today, actor friend of mine. We actually haven't met. We have the same manager, and we've been talking through our manager and through Instagram, and the kid is just killing it. And I'm so damn happy and proud of it for him, because I always love to see other actors succeed. So we're going to talk about his new TV show. Before we do that, though, we've got a couple of things that we got to get through. The first things first, let me take a look at my production notes here. I did have a Twitter poll that I put out today, and it was, forgive me, I should have had this pulled up, but I don't. It was basically asking you guys if you wanted to see a little sneak peek into the merch that is going to be coming. And so we had 41 votes. 22% of you said no. No. Don't want to see any of your new merch. Hilarious. I love it. 2.4% of you undecided. All right. I'm hoping to get you a little excited. And then 75, thank God, 75% of you were like, yeah, hell yeah, let's see it.
I really want to know who the 22% are. I just want to spend time with you and
just give you a hug.
Yeah, just have a glass of wine and just talk through.
Honestly, it's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
It's hilarious. So I kind of love the fact that there's 22% going, no, we fucking hate you. Stop. So let's get a sneak peek real quick. Let me just blow this up because I don't want to give too much of the other stuff away. I'm going to share this screen. Okay, so this is a t-shirt idea that we have. And it was created by our executive producer, Alex Garcia. He's been really working his ass off on doing merch. The thing about the merch is I want it to be something I would wear. Something I think it's either funny or related to the show. And we got to be really careful how we do it.
Well, and people have been asking you for a while for merch. So I think it's cool because you were like, no, we're gonna wait. We're gonna do it right. And Alex has just been all over this to get some pretty dope shit.
Also, he's making these. He's putting in the time, and he's also getting with another designer. And I'm giving him notes, heavy notes on a lot of these. But this one that he did absolutely knocked it out of the park. I never thought I would like anything with this kind of design, but I do. I love it. So let's pop it up real quick because we're wasting time. Let's see here. No, not that button, man. Damn it. All right, so here we go. This is one of the new shirts. So let me see if I could get in here a little closer.
Is not like the other.
Yeah, exactly. One of these things is definitely not like the other. And so I don't know if you can see this.
Can you kind of zoom in? Can you kind of
let me? You know what? Let me blow it up. There we go. That's better. So, as we can see, it's just different races of aliens. And then right in there is me. I absolutely love this. I think it's hilarious. This is one of the shirts that we got coming. There's going to be other stuff like keychains, coffee mugs, and some really, really fun things that are, reference the show. Oh, I just gave too much away. Oh no!
You better.
It's not that big a deal. Whatever. But yeah. So get ready, you guys. It's coming. We probably need another 3 or 4 weeks, but that's really exciting stuff.
I'm a little nervous. Jack said his mic on the second row. I definitely not, but I'm curious. I'm really nervous about which one you thought was me.
Well, I mean, I can see how maybe somebody thought one of those was you. Yeah. Okay, so Michael, would you like to introduce our guest today?
I would absolutely love to introduce our guest.
Oh, wait, before you do, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but there was also two other things I wanted to remind people. Cristina Gomez has Shifting the Paradigms today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so an hour after our show ends. And she's going to be interviewing guests that I'm going to have on the show as soon as I can. And they're doing an all-night watching event, like countrywide. Everybody go out. It's kind of like the Big Phone Home, but everybody just go outside and look at the sky for a few hours, you know? And if you have a million people looking at the sky at once and something crazy happens, you could corroborate witnesses in that area. That's, I think that's a valid, a valid thing to do. Why not? It's a way for us to collect data without permission. And it's as simple as going outside. So if you want to go camping, double it with something, you know, fun that you could do at night outside, go for it. I suggest night fishing, by the way. Sponsored, BlueMarlinChronicles.com. And so, music, DOS tapes. The last thing I wanted to get to, I wanted to do an unboxing. The UFO podcast guys sent me a t-shirt, and so I wanted to unbox it on the show and take a look at it, because I had no idea what they sent me. Let's check it out. It's black, which already I love. Cool. Cool, all right. Check that out. That's pretty rad, right?
Yeah.
They just sent it to me just because they're
That's
cool
dope.
Dudes. Dr. Scientist shirt from the UFO podcast. So thank you guys, seriously. And dude, this shirt is great quality. Like, this is definitely a shirt I'm gonna wear, dudes. That was so kind of you. Thank you. All right, let's introduce our guest.
Robby Ramos is an actor and playwright born and raised in Miami. Most recently, he was seen in the hit play Amparo, produced by Bacardi, which extended for 8 months and became Miami's longest-running show. On TV and film, Robby can be seen on the final season of Orange is the New Black on Netflix, Blacklist on NBC, Deception on ABC, and will next be seen in the STARZ wrestling drama Heels as series regular Diego Cottonmouth. Welcome, Robby Ramos.
What's up, my bros? Do you hear me?
What's going on? Yeah, we can hear you, man. We hear you. We see you. I see the tag, man.
I'm doing it for you guys, dude.
Dude. I swear to God, if I could grow a beard like you, we would be brothers. Like, how is this not a sitcom, man? Listen, you're the writer. Write it out, baby.
Yeah. We'll do it. I like it.
Oh,
You're
dude.
Cuban
So,
too, right, Luke?
what? Yeah, I am Cuban, dude. I'm from Miami. I'm born and raised. I mean, dude, we got so much to talk about. I don't think we're gonna get to all of it today. Right. But I've been because we haven't met. We were supposed to meet right before the freaking pandemic, and then that's it. I mean, and I listened to the podcast on MIA Radio, which, by the way, shout out to those guys, killer show.
Oh, cool, dude.
So I really got to know you through that, which was cool. And I'm like, dude, your timeline and my timeline are insanely familiar. Like step by step almost. The difference is you played baseball, I played football.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy we're gonna finally we actually get to see each other face to face. And when I get my second shot this weekend, dude, we gotta hang out.
Oh, no doubt.
All right. Yeah. And also, dude, so many things. Okay. So first of all, Robby, tell everybody, if you can, like, what's your story, dude? What's your origin story? Where did you come from? What made you decide? And I mean, I know, but people out there, they're going to start knowing you real soon. And so, what's the origin story? So people know, like, how you got to New York, how you got to LA.
Yep. So I basically started out as just doing theater down here in Miami. I went to Miami-Dade College. I was looking to study psychology. It was after high school. I'd finished playing baseball. That didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. I was out partying, getting the girl, doing the whole thing, and I got lost in the mix. And I had potential, as a baseball player, but I never really kind of dedicated myself. And with sports, I mean, you know this, Lou, if you did football, it's like you have 4 years, which is like your high school years, to really make an impression, or it's over, dude. Right. So I started messing up right in the most crucial time. You know what I mean?
Me too. Me too. Like my junior year, I was like, I need a car.
Right.
Like, I need a car. What am I gonna do? So I got a summer job instead of hitting the gym,
Right,
and so like I was good. I was getting offers from like Division II schools in Northern Illinois, like to play football, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to Northern Illinois.
Same.
Yeah,
I think it was JUCO colleges, junior colleges, and like Lakeland, Florida. I'm like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah. That's not me. So I ended up just doing Miami-Dade, and I was studying psychology, and then, I had really good teachers there that kind of not forced me, but they kind of got me writing, and writing down my thoughts and that kind of thing. And so I started writing down like a list of things that interested me, and I still have the notebook where I wrote down like the list of things. One of them was like a psychologist. One of them was actor, director kind of thing. And then there was other ones that were just like more kind of wild things that maybe I had picked up from my parents or something, like, oh, lawyer, right? I went down the list kind of, like slashing things off. And then the one that stayed, man, was psychology and acting. And so I took both. I took a psychology class and I took an acting class there at Dade. And the acting was the one that stuck, man.
Well, what's funny, dude, is I did pretty much the same thing. I went to Broward Community College and I took all of the broadcasting classes and all of the acting classes in the first year. Like that's all I wanted to take. Right. Or 2 years. And then I was doing improv doing like my rehearsals at Miami-Dade and I'm curious to know if you know this improv group, because you had mentioned improv in Miami and I was like, super gamey and really lame and you didn't like it. And so I'm curious, like, did you ever audition for Just the Funny?
No, dude, I didn't.
But you know of them.
I do know of,
yeah. Okay.
Kind of thing. Yeah, sure. So
yeah.
You were in there.
I was in there in 2000, from like 2000 to 2004. Okay. I helped organize and bring I was there. I helped with the event. Yeah. I didn't organize it, but I was like one of the main people there. And so we brought the first ever Miami Improv Festival to Miami. And then that's what opened the door for me to go, because when I did improv and I took classes with these masterful improvisers from Second City, Upright Citizens Brigade, those theaters, and also the Groundlings from LA. I mean, like all of these guys came to Miami for a whole week. And so
that's cool.
That exposed me. And then we got a couple of also killer teachers to come down and teach, and one of them was like, dude, you need to go to New York and Upright Citizens Brigade. I was like, okay,
right.
Yeah, I'm in. So
you ended up going to New York.
Yeah, for 7 years.
What?
For 7 years, dude. And guess where I live, Papa?
No.
Yes.
Astoria? No way.
Dude, I lived there for the whole time. Okay?
Holy shit,
I lived on Astoria Boulevard and 34th, and then I also lived on 47th because one of my best friends has a house on there.
Yeah.
And then my last place was on Astoria Boulevard by the park, a little corner apartment there by the park, by Astoria Park. So when I heard your story, dude, I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah. That's wild, man. 30th Avenue. So I was on 30th and 29th Street, right next to that school there.
How cool is that neighborhood, man?
Oh, I love it, dude.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. Where would you rather be, New York or LA?
Oh. You know what? I can't give an opinion on that yet because just so you know, I'm in Miami now.
Yeah.
So I'm in Miami down here, just being with family, dude, because my agents were like, there's no reason to be here. I mean, you might as well be down with your family. We're doing everything Zoom.
Yeah.
Even auditions are Zoom, so I'm not out there.
Dude, I've got a 13-page audition that I got to get in by Monday.
There you go.
And it's all Zoom. But that's, dude, I think you struck that, dude. I swear to God, I think I'm only 10 years older than you. I'm 40. I'm the 40-year-old actor,
I'm
right?
30. Yeah.
Okay. So it's just funny how I heard, like, you know, you came out to LA, you booked Orange is the New Black, you booked Snowfall,
right.
and then nothing. The COVID, boom, like done.
Yeah,
and then you went back home, which I thought was a smart move. I wish I had that flexibility, dude, but I got a girl, everything's here. I've been here for now 10 years.
Yeah.
And God, that would have saved me so much money if I could just go home and spend time.
Thing,
dude, I wanted to spend time with my nieces and my nephews. Like, I was seriously considering it, but my girlfriend just got a job. It was just like, the opportunity, timing was off. And so when I heard your story about how, you know, your girl got pregnant, your wife got pregnant, and then this audition popped in. And then you made that phone call to the gym near you, and then the guy was like, "Yeah, I was trying to be a wrestler in Atlanta, which you were shooting at." Just the synchronicities of the two of us is insane. It's just not my time yet. It hasn't clicked like it has with you. I don't know what it is, dude. I got to get older. I don't know, but it's like it's just not my time yet. So I when I heard that, I was like, dude, this kid, I love this kid. Like, I'm so happy for you that it hit at just the perfect time, because, you know, like, those doubts as an actor go through your head like crazy, and you start thinking to yourself, like, shit, man, like, am I going to have to go work at a grocery store? Am I going to, I mean, like, right now, I'm, like, doing Lyft. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm hustling. I'm hustling as hard as I can. I do this show, and that's why I kind of started the show, because it's like, this is a creative outlet for me.
Of course.
You know,
and
so
this is great, dude. I mean, I respect both of you guys for starting this and for putting your necks out there, bro, because this is a subject that people, you know, they kind of they look down upon it.
Yeah, well, it's weird. It's weird.
It's weird. Yeah,
it's weird.
So you said Luis said that you guys had almost the exact experience growing up, but what I want to know, Robby, is did you see a UFO like Luis did?
Oh my God!
I did not,
yes.
dude.
Okay.
That was actually so. Luis told me if I had any burning questions, and that was one of them, dude. So I'm sure you've been through, or you've talked about it here, but can I hear a little bit of that, man? So
yeah. It was so I was 13. I was at a birthday party. It was nighttime, and it was like I grew up in Cooper City, Florida.
Okay,
that's where I spent middle school and high school. Because my stepfather was a police officer. You know how police officers, they never live where they work. So we lived in Fort Lauderdale. So I grew up in a very rural, you know, white suburban neighborhood. And so it was like a farm. This birthday party was on a farm. We're just hanging out, and we see this girl out in the field. And she's looking up. We're like, okay, that's weird. So we walk over to her, and we're like, hey, what are you looking at? She's like, I'm looking at that light up there. And then I look up, and it's weird. It's a weird looking light. It has like a green aura. At first, I'm like, maybe it's the blimp, the Goodyear blimp, because you know.
How old are you at this point?
13.
Okay.
So this is 93.
Okay.
This is like when Joe Robbie Stadium was still Joe Robbie Stadium.
Yeah.
And it had, you know, like I thought at first, I was like, maybe it's the Goodyear blimp, because that thing flies around that neighborhood all the time. And when you look at a blimp, sometimes it does look very weird at a certain angle. But then the next thing I remember, it's hovering, you know, 300 yards away from me, you know, maybe 100 yards off the ground. And it's like this craft, this lemon-shaped craft. And it's white in the middle, and it's got like a greenish aura on the outside. And I was like, dude, I got to get a better look. So I ran toward it, and between me and the craft was a bunch of trees. It went behind the trees as I was running to it. And when I got to the fence, it was gone. And the thing that was crazy is it was not just me and two other kids, the whole party full of adults. Like, you know, like the adults were like, what the you know, they were screaming. They're like, what really? Is that? The mood of the party completely shifted after this went down. Like, it was completely different.
Your dad was there, Lou?
No, none of my family was there. I went there with my best friend. His mom dropped us off. It was his friend that was having the party. I didn't really know anybody but him. You know, and it was sort of like the first party my parents let me go to, like, you know, where they're like, all right, yeah, just tell us where you're going, you know, give us the phone number, the address.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, so that's what happened.
You know what's crazy about those kind of stories to me, dude, is that as human beings, we experience things that are that amazing, and then we kind of almost forget about them, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's an experience that almost the next day you should be still in shock, the next week, the next month.
Yeah.
You should be telling everyone about it, right?
Yeah.
It should be something that is just like, dude, what? I mean, you can't explain it. You know?
No, dude. It's one of those moments in your life where, I don't know if you've ever been in a car accident or anything like that, but right before it happens, it's like everything slows down.
Right.
And so that's what it felt like. And I've only kept in contact with one person that was there, and that was my best friend at the time, this kid Tony, and he remembers it. Like, you know, like, I mean, my parents remember me rushing into the house that night and waking them up and being like, yeah, I saw something crazy, you know?
Yeah.
It was what, dude, it changed me. It changed me forever. Yeah. I'll never forget it, but at the same time, I also tell, you know, the people that are listening, people new to the show, it's a, 1993, so it's a 27-year-old memory. Almost 28. So, like, we know scientifically speaking that your memories can change. They do, for sure. So, I could have a lot of the details and facts wrong, but I know that the event was real. It was a genuine thing because there's somebody else who also was there that I still talk to, and just every couple years I just check in with them and be like, hey, right? Okay, I mean, like, we don't have to say anything. It's just like, all right, I'll talk to you in a couple years, and then we hang up. It's like that, dude. It's like that. And so, like, COVID happened, and what happened is did you know that the guy leading the charge for UFO disclosure is Cuban?
I listened to some of your interview with him.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Yeah, man. Awesome,
yeah,
dude. Well, man, him and my father and his dad are gonna sit down and have a conversation about Cuba, because I need a history lesson. I know a lot about Cuba, but I wanted to ask you specifically because I know you wrote a play about Cuba. It was 66. I'm forgetting Alpha 66.
Yeah.
And so, man, I wanted to read this because I know this is sort of the thing that people were like, "What's this Alpha 66?" Even though you didn't produce the play, like, just the script itself is what people were like, "Whoa, this is great."
Yeah. Well, it's so Alpha 66 was a group, a paramilitary group here in Miami and in Cuba that was basically conspiring, working together to take down the Castro regime in Cuba. And they worked with the CIA. They did things like that. That the group is still around to the point where when I did the play in New York, the treasurer or something like that, I don't remember exactly, he called me out of nowhere. And he's like, hey, so you're making a play about Alpha C? I said, yeah, I am, and then I kind of told him the backstory of my grandfather and that kind of thing. Yeah. And they were on board with it, but he was still kind of like, it's a sensitive subject, because they are also labeled a terrorist group by certain individuals. So it's a dicey name. I picked it on purpose because of that.
Well, it's gonna. Not only does it sound cool, but people are gonna be like, "Well, whoa! What?" Even if they're going with just it sounds cool, they're gonna open it and be like, "Holy shit! This is a real thing."
Right. It was to the point where I've thought about changing the name just because it is like, it's just. And the play isn't about that group, It just so happens to be that one of the characters in the play is being accused of being a part of that group, right? So it's still something where I'm kind of thinking about what to do with it. But we're gonna do a reading here in Miami of the play, and then we'll see where it goes from there. I want to produce it down here, and then I also want to produce it elsewhere, and I want to eventually film or TV or that kind of thing with it. it's powerful, man. It's powerful. You know, our families have so many stories of Cuba, and I don't know about you, but I've never been.
No,
it's still in my heart, dude. It's like
yeah.
I grew up trying to ask my grandfather, you know, what happened to you guys over there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man. Let's see what happens with that. But that's the story of that title, man.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna ask because when I listened to the MIA show, you didn't get into your younger inspirations, like who, because obviously this Cuban Revolution had a huge impact on both of our lives.
Right.
And so like, what was see, here's the thing with me, man, is because there was a fear, you know, when I was growing up 10 years before you, that, you know, hey, he's got to speak English first. English. And so that's the first language I learned. And so when I went back to try and learn Spanish, I was trying to do it in a white neighborhood with white kids all around me.
Tough.
And it's tough, like, because you're trying to fit in with everyone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So my Spanish never developed the way I want. And it's something that it's an identity crisis that even to this day I live with. Like, it's like sometimes it flows out like water. Sometimes it's just like, you ain't talking this today. And it, you know, like if I'm working in a restaurant with a bunch of busboys, forget about it, dude. I can bullshit all day. But then there'll still be moments where I'm like, I don't get what you're saying. You know, like, help me out. And so, you know, like I never developed that relationship with my grandfather. I ended up developing a relationship with my stepfather's grandfather, who was a World War II veteran. So, you know, like the deep history of this, I felt like I really missed out on. You know what I mean? And it bums me out. So when I started hearing your story, I was like, man, I wonder if he was the same as me, but just what he actually did it with, like, because I have a feeling in your house it was, you spoke Spanish first and then it was English, you know? So like, I mean, like my mother lived in the house, my grandmother lived with me, and those were two forces that always spoke Spanish. But, you know, again, it was just like an adolescent kid trying to break away from that, you know, because I didn't want to be associated with, oh, he's Latino, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, it's a pressure. It's a real pressure.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, I grew up, so my household was my grandparents, my parents, and then my older brother and my older sister. They're both like 13 years older than me. So I basically grew up with 3 sets of parents there, of each generation, right?
Right.
And they all were born in Cuba, you know, and so my first language was Spanish. My parents still don't speak English, so I when I'm around them, that's what I speak. When I went to New York, dude, I lost a lot of the speech. I had to kind of like regain it now that I've been down here.
Right.
The more time I spend in Miami, the more it comes out, because you go to McDonald's, you got to speak Spanish. You know,
right.
It doesn't matter where you're at.
And the people who don't look like they speak Spanish.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's true. So that's a little bit of my upbringing. You know, it was all Spanish, but then it's also kind of a weird thing because we grew up. You know, I grew up loving the Marlins, watching the Dolphins. The Heat, right? So it was all American pop culture, but then at home, I had this very Cuban culture that was happening, and there was always discussion about politics, about what happened to them over there, you know. And I always had that interest of knowing, dude. I guess because I was born here and I was born with all these things that they didn't have over there, you know. And I wanted to know my origin story, really, you know.
Yeah.
So, and
how much of it did you get?
I got as much as I could, man. My grandparents, they both passed, but you know, I carry them with me every day, dude. I have a chain, and my watch is my grandfather's. I carry them all the time, dude. That's my whole thing. That's why when I sat down to write a play, I'll tell you how I wrote Alpha 66. So maybe right around the time I started acting, which was maybe like 2009, 2010. I watched The Lost City by Andy Garcia, and it's a film. And at the end of the movie, I remember sitting in my living room, and my grandfather it was late at night. I'm an all-nighter, dude. Well, before I had kids, I would sleep late, and I would watch these movies. And I remember watching this movie, dude, and I felt like a bolt of energy, lightning just went through the top of my head all the way through my body.
Yeah.
And I said, and I immediately went to my room and I started writing these ideas I had about telling my grandfather's story.
Yeah.
And that was the origin of it. Then it took, of course, 5 years in between that time and me learning how to write and learning how to do that kind of thing that I wrote the play.
Yeah.
But there's been things like that in my life, man, that have happened that have just been they're not from me, man. They're from something else, you know. Seriously.
Wow, man, that's just funny you say that, dude, because I had the exact same experience, you know, about 2 months ago, just like this bolt of lightning that just downloads into your head, and you're like, all of a sudden you could see everything that's ever gonna happen. Like it's wild, man. It was an amazing experience, and you know, that's why I started the show, because like there's these serendipitous things in life. Like this idea that you get your show the second your wife gets pregnant, and you meet this guy who tried to be a wrestler in the city that you're gonna be filming the show in.
I know.
You know, just like all of these, like you're Cuban, I'm Cuban, you lived in Astoria, I lived in Astoria, you've lived in LA, I've lived in LA, and it's like that, you know, there's a reason we're here right now, you know, and are these things in the sky have anything to do with what's happening right now? You know, this cool phenomena of just events merging, you know, like a freeway. So okay, we've hit the half-hour mark. Should we reset the room, Mikey?
Yeah, let's reset the room.
All right.
Cool.
For those of you just joining us, I just want to make sure that you know that we are speaking with Robby Ramos, who's an actor and playwright, born and raised in Miami. He's now on the film, or in the STARZ series Heels. He's been on Orange is the New Black, The Blacklist, Deception. And he's got this incredible story about this play that he's written, by the way, which is fantastic. So thank you for sharing that as well, Robby. We've also got an amazing panel coming up for you in about 30 minutes. But for now, let's dive back in.
Also, just real quick, coming up next week, we've got Mick West lined up for Monday. So tune in. That's going to be very lively. Where the panel today is going to be basically you, me, and Rather. Maybe we'll take some phone calls if Robby wants to stick around for a second hour.
We haven't taken phone calls in a hot minute.
No, we haven't. It's been a while. But also, we've got on Wednesday, we've got Jason McClellan and Ryan Sprague. And on Friday, the day the UAP report is out, I'm trying to line up like the ultimate panel. Michael won't be here, unfortunately, but it should be a really cool day. So stay tuned for that. I'll be announcing once I confirm all the names in this panel, but it's shaping up to be really, really cool.
Also, we've got on Tuesday at the Singularity Lab next week, we've got Avi Loeb, who's going to be talking about how we as interested citizens can support and figure out what impact we can play on bringing these conversations of the scientific fringe and UFOs to mainstream academia. So that's going to be a huge show. Make sure you click the link below and subscribe and click the bell for Singularity Lab. It's going to be a big week next week.
Next week is going to be sick. Okay. Next week you're not going to want to miss next week, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening. Also, check out our links below. We've got our Patreon, so you can support me and Michael. Make sure that this show comes to you 5 days a week. We're essentially a public access channel. We are supported by viewers like you, so thank you.
And follow Robby on Twitter.
Robby. At Robby Ramos, right? What's your Twitter? I've got it. I've got your link right below. So just
Twitter,
click it.
Instagram, the whole nine.
Okay, so dude, I really could spend a lot of time on just Cuba, Miami. Astoria. I mean, bro, I wish you were here, because I was going to say, dude, we should be workout friends. You know what I'm saying? Because I need somebody out here to get my ass back in shape, and I know you need somebody to help you get your ass back in shape.
Exactly.
But damn it, you're in Florida.
I know, bro. I know. And we'll see. We're going to see what happens with season 2 of Heels.
Yeah. Did it get picked up?
We're waiting on that. So the show premieres August 15th, and hopefully, if it does well, then we keep going.
Yeah, well, let's talk heels real quick, and then we'll get into the UFOs and UAP questions. Don't worry, guys, we're getting there.
Good. I got questions too.
Okay, good. Okay, so real quick, dude, let's talk about heels, because it's something that I think, especially in this audience, I know Ryan Sprague's watching. He is a wrestling nut.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So I know the term heels is also like the bad guy in a wrestling match, right?
Yep.
So I like the idea of exploring the lives of these independent sort of, like almost like an ECW kind of wrestling, where it's like it's not the game. It's not you're not in the major leagues. You're in sort of the trenches of wrestling.
Right.
So it's gonna be good. So I'm interested. Who first of all, tell us as much as you want about it, dude. Like the floor is yours on this.
Okay, cool. So the writer is Michael Waldron, who just wrote Loki.
Wow.
And he's the dude is killing it right now, man. He's writing on so many things. It's kind of his brainchild. And then he was out writing somewhere in London. They were shooting some other Marvel movie. He was out there because he wrote that as well. And so he wasn't a part of the show with us, and it was COVID. He couldn't be flying back and forth.
Right.
So Michael Malley was the showrunner of the show, and he was really hands-on with us the most on set and all that kind of thing. And some rewrites with him and Waldron involved as well. But it's basically these two brothers in small town Georgia. They have this league that was formerly owned by their father. Something happens to the father. I can't give spoilers, but so now the brothers are kind of taking over this league. And then,
well, I think it's safe to assume he doesn't get healthier.
No. Right. Yeah.
He doesn't all of a sudden get a spring in his step and come back into the ring. Okay, all right.
Right. So it kind of centers around these two guys, and that's Alexander Ludwig and Stephen Amell, both great actors and are really kind of the glue of the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if how much your audience knows about Hollywood, but if you don't have big names, man, the show's not going.
Right.
So these guys jumping on, it gave STARZ the green light, and they started kind of casting and all that kind of thing. So they casted around them. James Harrison from the Pittsburgh Steelers. You say you like football. He's on there. He's a beast, man. Super humble dude too.
Also,
cool.
Manny. Or not Manny. What's the other actor that's in the show? The African American actor.
Alan Maldonado.
Al Maldonado.
Yeah.
I always say Manny instead of Maldonado. I think I worked with him once on the same thing, but we weren't in the same scene.
Right on. Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. Another great guy, bro. Everyone on the cast has just been great, man, which thank God, having it be my real first big experience in doing TV shows and that kind of thing. I've just gotten lucky, man, that everyone's been so great. Michael Malley's mind is very kind of comedic, and it's wild, and he'll throw things out at you during set, and so that kind of freed us up a little bit as actors to kind of play. Chris Bauer also, I don't know if you know about Chris Bauer, the actor. He's been on The Wire.
Yes. Yeah.
Learning a lot from that dude, man. That's been amazing. Mary McCormick from The West Wing. So, dude, it's an incredible show, man. I don't know how much of it I can share just because, they just come out with the trailer. You guys can check out the trailer on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever.
Rather, if you could pull that up, that would be killer. We'll play it. We'll play the trailer for everyone. Because I don't think I saw the trailer yet. Or did I? Or I think I saw a fast cut trailer. Like it was a teaser. I don't know.
It is a teaser. It's a
teaser. Okay, that's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's mainly centered around the two brothers because that's the main storyline. And that's the that's the season one they're going with. But I think the longer trailer is going to come out closer to August 15th.
Here we go.
There we go. Oh, a live look at it. All right.
Yeah.
Live reaction. Yeah.
That looks good.
Yeah.
Dude, congratulations, man. I'm so damn happy for you, bro.
Dope.
I mean, I cannot wait. I hope it gets picked up for season 2.
Ryan Sprague is gonna fucking kill me because I am not a wrestling fan, and I'm sorry, Ryan. I gotta put that out there. That's just a fact.
We should bring Sprague in here.
But we should bring Sprague. Sprague, are you free?
I'm gonna send him the link if he wants to come in.
See if he wants to hop in. But I did want to say But I did want to say this looks like something I could actually watch. Like this looks fun.
Yeah, well, it doesn't look like it's just about wrestling. It's gonna have layers to it, which is always fun.
Yeah. No, it's more about this family, and then also these small town wrestlers trying to make it, and I think we can all in some way kind of connect to that.
100%.
But yeah, dude, I'm excited, bro. We'll see what ends up happening.
That's dope. I mean, and how much have you filmed so far, Robbie?
We filmed 8 episodes. So we're
filmed. All right,
filming.
so you have filmed 8 episodes. Wow.
In April. Yeah. We finished filming in April. We started in August or September of 2020.
That's dope,
dude. That's sick. I can't wait. I'm so happy for you, man.
Thank you, dude.
It's. I mean, like, honestly, for you guys out there that don't know what it is to be an actor, and I know it's like, oh, you're an actor, blah blah blah. Like, what do you know about real work? We if you hear this man's story about being penniless in New York City and going to a conservatory and at the same time doing plays for free for years.
Yeah, man.
I can tell you stories. It's hard. It's a hard, unrelenting, unforgiving business. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're really good and nothing happens. Sometimes you're really bad and something great happens. Like it's really, and that's why I was like, dude, I got to start doing my own shit because I am so tired of not having the control, not having the control over my life, because it's like you do this audition and it's like you've got no control over what happens. So
and I love your loop, man. I love all the aesthetics, dude. I love the stuff you're coming out with that's very like 1950s vibe. I
appreciate it, man.
1960s.
Yeah.
It's around that time, and I love the look too. That's why I had to come on and do this, man. Aesthetics is so important, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a production guy. I've directed films.
I love it, dude.
I was like, if I'm gonna do this, first of all, this is not doing any favors for my acting career. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing this to get a part on ABC's The Good Doctor. Like, that's not happening here. I'm doing this because this is just a fascinating topic to talk about. And when COVID happened, I wanted to do something with myself. What sucked is I had just made a UCB sketch team here in LA. And dude, it's a killer sketch team to be a part of. It's for a whole year, and you get to do sketches in front of talent. Like, talent agents go to that theater, and it's closed now. It didn't make it through the pandemic, so it's like great, another job I booked that something terrible happened on. But anyway, Dude, thank you for sharing your story. So let's get to the burning. All right, we're UFO part, everybody. We're here.
Yep.
Let's get to what are the questions you have, and then we've also got some videos here for you. If you haven't seen them, we can play them and just get your raw reaction if you've never seen them before. But let's start with your questions. What do you got?
So I think we're missing a Mike personal story, right, about the UFOs. Is there anything to know about that, Mike?
So I actually did have a story from when I was 11 years old. And I actually had to call my father recently and ask him for his perspective on it because, I was 11, right?
Yeah.
But I did have a very bizarre experience. We were in Destin, Florida, and we were on the coast, and we saw 3 or 4 just very strange objects in the sky. It was nighttime. They were glowing. I don't remember the colors, but I do remember them kind of being varying in color. But the truly extraordinary thing about them was their flight patterns, and they were all kind of moving in unison, but then they would kind of dart off in different directions and kind of make these really extraordinary turns that were just unexplainable. Again, I was 11 years old, so like I'm putting all this back together, so I couldn't I wouldn't be able to stand behind exactly what I experienced in a court of law. But it was a really extraordinary experience, and it was one of the things that turned me on to this subject. But I've always been fascinated, by this sort of subject. I've always been fascinated with pyramids and UFOs and the Loch Ness monster and all these sorts of things. So I've always been fascinated by things that are kind of outside of the mainstream. And then having that experience when I was 11 was a wild one.
Mm. Damn, dude. Yeah, I've never had my personal kind of UFO thing, but I've always been interested, man. Unsolved mysteries. Robert Stack is a legend, dude.
Yeah. What has any of your family? Have you ever heard of any family members seeing anything crazy like that?
You know what? No, man. No, I did a play with a dude once who actually, I could possibly get you in contact with this guy. We were in our dressing rooms, and he was telling us a story about this UFO that he says would visit him up there. Not that the UFO would visit him, but that these UFOs, he would see these lights and these crafts up at his. He had a house up in upstate New York, and him and his wife would be sleeping at night, and then the room would just light up. And they would be gravitated to this window that was by their bedroom, and they would go look, and there was times where they would see this craft. And dude, he was dead serious, man. This guy was. It's one of those things.
Was his name Whitley Strieber?
No.
Okay, I was saying like Whitley Strieber he lived in upstate New York. He wrote the book Communion. It sounded very similar to that.
No, this is some dude, man. I can get you. I did a play with him. He wasn't the kind of guy to lie about it, Yeah. He also wasn't like dying to tell the story. It was kind of something that he just kind of told us. He wasn't. I don't know. He wasn't the kind. He didn't strike me as the kind of guy that would lie about that kind of thing.
Right.
Or that was seeking some form of attention or that kind of thing. So when you hear these stories, man, it blows my mind, bro. It really does. I have no choice but to believe them. Why not? You know what I mean? Yeah. There's so many weird things in this world, dude.
What's
funny,
we
can't explain how we're here. How where did we come from? We don't know. So who's to say what's real and what's not?
No, it's true, man. The more we look into things, the weirder things get. And it was funny, actually, today on the debrief, Chrissy was interviewing Leslie Kane, and she was saying that the abduction community really does not get the attention they deserve. They just get a lot of ridicule. They get a lot of bullshit, and it's not right. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to have the conversation of because here's the framework we always work around, and that is things in the sky. They're real. They are there. 100% fact. They've been chased by pilots. They got senators talking about them. We've got video, which, by the way, I don't know if you've seen any of those. Have you?
No, I've seen here and there.
Okay, so maybe let's play. Let's play them the Go Fast video after this.
Yeah.
And so that's the fact. Anything beyond that, we just don't know, man. Like, we don't know what they are. We don't know where they come from. And I'm starting to believe more and more that neither does our government. I think they have a better idea, but at the end of it, they really have no clue. Like, it's just so weird. It's so crazy that even they're having a hard time wrapping their noodle around it.
Right.
So that's where we always start. So this idea that, this abduction community is being left out, it's being ignored, it's being ridiculed. And I'm guilty of that. I'll be 100% honest with you. But again, as I talk to more people, as we dive into this more, as we can always, now that we have a base of reality or fact, now we can explore and play with it, like an actor would, and sort of push the boundaries on it. But we always come back to center. We always come back to that framework.
Here's a question I have for you, Luke, because I saw one of your videos, I don't know how many months ago, but it was about Bob Lazar, and you had kind of come to the conclusion that it
Do you trust a pimp? Was that it?
Yeah.
I've been harsh. I've been harsh in the past on him.
So my question is, how do you feel about that now? Because you've met Jeremy, right? You believes him.
Dude, that's a great question.
It is a great question. You should have a podcast, Robby.
Well, I'll tell you this. When I first heard the Bob Lazar story, it was about a year before my sighting. Maybe 2, because Bob Lazar came out in 89, 88, 89. And then I had my experience in 93. So, Bob Lazar was on TV. Like, not like you couldn't record that shit. Like, there was no TiVo. There was no, YouTube where you could go back and watch the Bob Lazar clip. If you weren't there at 7 o'clock on the dot for live television, you were going to miss Bob Lazar.
Right. So
I grew up hearing this story and believing it until I was 39 years old. Like I after watching the films, after hearing the story, after all of it, I was like, it's got to be real. It just has to be. And then you start digging into it a little bit. You start finding out where he really worked, what he really did. And I started getting angry because now I started feeling like I was lied to. And so instead of calming down and then maybe filming, I filmed while I was angry because I was like, this is bullshit. I feel like I need to call this out. I wish I hadn't done that, but I did. It's something I've had to come back on. Not that I don't still have the questions. I still do. I still think there are a lot of holes in this guy's story. A lot. And a lot of questions that I think are fair. But with that said, after meeting Jeremy, after working with him on some level, as far as getting him to come to the event and be part of our show, I learned real quick that this guy triple, quadruple checks everything, the simplest things. It's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You want me to send this link at this time and you want it to say this.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I would get an email going, okay, so you want me to send this clip with this time with this thing. Yep. And then I get a text and then an Instagram message. I was just like, yes, bro, send it. Go for it, do whatever you want. Yeah. So this idea that he double and triple and quadruple checks things gave me a lot of comfort in sort of in the information that he's putting out there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
My sense of Lazar, and it is a bizarre story. And the first time I actually heard about Lazar was on the Joe Rogan podcast with Jeremy Corbell. That was the first. Yeah. Okay. That was the first time I'd heard that. And I was literally blown away. I was like, I think my wife, Kristen, and I were both listening to it at the same time. And I was blown away. And then, I went back and did some more research and I did find some things that were a little questionable. But, ultimately, I don't know. I don't know if he's telling 100% the truth. I don't know if he's telling 100% falsehood. I don't know if he's telling 50-50, 75-25. I don't know.
I think it's a mix of both. I mean, I think there's truth sprinkled with more lies than there is truth.
But here's the thing, Lou, is that in the documentary, right, with Jeremy, it says that I don't know if it was the CIA, but the government comes to check his home, right? After it's something that
the FBI, you mean that's the scene where the FBI comes? Yeah, but it was for something different. That's what you learn. You learn that FBI raid was because there was a death somewhere, and that death had a certain compound, an element linked to it, and so they checked his lab to make sure that element didn't come from his lab, and if it did, they need to know how it got into the hands of the person that used it. Sort of thing, if that makes sense. And then I'm sure they even sent a couple of more agents because they knew who they were about to raid. But that's what happened with that.
Right. But and also you never know to what level the government is telling the truth and to what level they could be messing with his, with his life and his history and the MIT, the education he had supposedly at MIT. Like there could be a bunch of funky stuff going on with the FBI behind the scenes, the CIA, you don't know.
Well, but I don't want this to turn into all the reasons why I think, the story is not accurate. But here's the bottom line is that without that story, I don't think this show exists. That's the positive that I take out of it now is that it inspires people to look into the topic, which I think is incredibly valuable. Even more valuable than my frustration with whether or not it's true or not.
That's a good point,
I'm not Walter Cronkite. I'm not here to, break the news, I'm just an actor. I'm just a dude who loves this topic. and loves to talk about it and loves to ask my other fellow actor friends what their questions or how they feel about it, because I think it's important that we get the person's view who has no idea about this, and maybe they're more curious because maybe, I don't know, you saw it on 60 Minutes, or maybe you read it in the New Yorker magazine that these things are real. Like, you know, maybe you saw the videos and you didn't, and that's great, because now we can show you a video.
Let's do that.
Let's do that, because I want to see his face light up, because that's what always happens. And we want to just give a quick shout out to Schoolcraft for the $6.90 donation. In 1982, Los Alamos newspaper featured Bob in his jet car, referred to him as a physicist at the Los Alamos lab. That's true, but that does not mean he worked at S4. You know, that does not mean he worked on back engineered craft. That's like, parts of his story are true, but that does not blanket everything else that he says to make it 100% true. You got to look at all of it. And yeah, he worked at Los Alamos. You know, yeah, they denied that he worked there because it's a top secret facility. Like, you know, like they don't want, you know, sure, you know, they've got foam. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. I can't unravel Bob Lazar right now. It's just not enough time. But you know, here's the one thing that I watched, and it's actually something I wanted to bring up on YouTube. I recommend everybody go check out the Behavior Panel. They are a group of body language experts that have worked for the Pentagon, CIA. They've interviewed terrorists, and they go over Bob Lazar. They just did a video on presidents' reactions to the UFO question, and they also did the Berkshire's UFO case.
Unsolved Mysteries. That's
the Unsolved Mysteries, the new Unsolved Mysteries. And let me tell you, I would start with that one because that to me is the most fascinating, absolutely craziest one. Because these guys, like one of the Behavior Panel lists, prefaces everything with, just FYI, I want to believe this, especially with Bob Lazar. Like, I want to believe this. And then they come away with the conclusion that Bob's not being 100% honest. A lot of the stuff he say, it's just what you said, Michael. It's a lot of facts with a lot of lies. And it's hard to decipher in the middle what's actual, tangibly true.
And who's lying, right? I mean, right. You've got the government, and then you've got Lazar, and it's going, well, you know, there's so much opportunity for both sides to be lying. It's very difficult to get to the bottom.
But not only that, the way he prefaces the science of everything, it's like, well, if anti-gravity technology is true, then, which breaks the laws of known physics, then he could say whatever he wants after that. You know what I mean? Because it's unprovable. So anyway, all right, I keep going. Let's go to the Go Fast, because let's see if Robby has seen this one. Am I playing it?
Oh, sorry.
I got it. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah. Here we go.
Nickel 6-1 Tango. Roger, Roger, there's troubleshooting.
Did you box moving target?
No, I took an auto track.
Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Wow, look at
So that was the Go Fast video. So that was taken off of, I believe, the East Coast. And those are F-16 fighter pilots tracking this object. And I mean, what do you think? What's your first reaction when you saw? Have you ever seen that?
No, I hadn't seen that one. Dude, I don't know what to think, man. It's one of the, how fast was that going? Do they know the exact speed?
It was estimated it was going 500 miles an hour, like you ought to know who says. But this is where UFO the UFO community goes ballistic, because you've got one guy saying, yeah, it's just a balloon, and it's an effect from a plane going this way and the balloon floating this way and the camera looking down, and against the ocean it looks like it's going fast. But the problem with that theory is that, you know, pilots don't lock on to things unless they think they're worthy of locking on to. So the process of them looking at it, them determining, okay, what the hell is that thing? And then going, okay, let's aim all of our instruments at that thing. You know, like that whole process is not only just the pilots in the plane, but it's linked to the ships, the submarines, you know, everything that's going on in that area with that crew. Everybody's seeing what they're seeing. And it's, you know, so it's, if it's a balloon, you know, that would, it's a tough one to swallow.
Not just that, I'm sure they've seen other balloons. I mean, right? I mean,
you would think, right?
They're always kind of letting balloons go up, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, the Navy has targeting balloons. The Air Force has targeting huge balloons that they pop up and that are actually impervious to the rounds. They can actually fire live rounds at these balloons and reuse them. And these balloon shapes look like triangles. They look like orbs. They look very weird if you don't know what you're looking at. Right. But they usually don't travel across the ocean unbeknownst to the pilots looking at them. I don't know, Mike. What do you?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, it's so difficult because, like, I don't know the trigonometry behind what Mick West is actually saying and why he believes this is something that's actually moving quite slow. Like, I don't understand the trigonometry enough to be confident about what I'm saying. But I do find it extraordinary to listen to those fighter pilots and their intense, insane reactions to this and think it was some sort of balloon. These are trained observers in the U.S. military. I'm not saying that they're infallible. The idea that, you know, people can't see something and be mistaken is ridiculous, even if they are in the military. But to misunderstand something like that, an object like that, to me, that seems crazy. So I want to look more into the trigonometry behind where that object is and why some of the debunkers think it's actually a balloon moving slowly. But it certainly is fascinating.
What do you guys make of those pictures that have been coming out?
Which ones?
From it's like a triangle one from the pilot, right?
From the pyramid photo.
Yeah.
It's funny. An F-16 fighter pilot just broke down that video today, and I think if I understood it correctly, because he throws a lot of math in there. Yeah. But from what I understand is if those objects that they're taking through that camera are one nautical mile away, means that the object is about 83 feet long, which is the size of about a 747. But why would an airliner be flying that close to a naval ship? 1 nautical mile within a naval ship. That's kind of weird. If it goes, if that object is, 5 to 10 nautical miles away from the ship, it gets a lot bigger real quick. So see, here's the thing with all of this stuff coming out. And this is exactly why I wanted to talk to someone who doesn't know what's going on is, as me and Michael have to be really careful with, it's aliens! No, we know what it is! Because we don't. We have no clue. And the problem with these videos, the problem with these pictures is that they're compelling, but there's not enough data. Like, for example, we don't know the height of those objects. It'd be great if we just knew. The guy who broke down the video was like, if we just knew the height, just the height, we could really quickly determine, okay, what could it be or what it might not be. So that's the problem. All of these videos, every single one, every picture you've seen, something's missing. Where scientifically you can't nail it to the board and go, okay, there you go, that's proof. Yeah. So it's really tough, but at the same time, you've got senators. You got Marco Rubio. You've got former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. You've got the former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe. These are very serious people that are just a few steps away from the President of the United States, and they're saying, okay, look, a part of this is drone tech from China and Russia, but there's an element of this that we do not know what it is. Like, it is 100% unexplainable, and it's a concern because we're seeing them over nuclear bases, we're seeing them over ships, we're seeing them in places they're not allowed to be, and there's nothing we can do about it.
And here's the thing about some of that, man, is like when that New York Times article came out, I think at any other time in history, dude, that would have been just like, what the off-road vehicles not made on this earth.
Right.
Dude,
Right. That line, bro, went underneath the radar of everybody because it was so distracting in the executive office that people just missed it. I can't believe it, but people actually missed that.
They missed it, dude.
And that came from a scientist who worked in the program. You
right,
know, like
right.
So
and
dude.
They are so particular about what words they use.
Yes.
And the fact that he couldn't find any other words to kind of blanket that or make it more vanilla, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like make it more like, oh, whatever.
No, dude, you make a great point. You make a great point.
Real quick, I just want to go ahead and reset the room.
Do it. Thank you,
we want to get Rather Be Squidding in here, but for those of you just joining us, we've got Robby Ramos with us right now, who's an actor and playwright born and raised in Miami. It's great to get to know you. He's been on Orange is the New Black on Netflix, The Blacklist on NBC, Deception on ABC, and will be seen on the STARZ wrestling drama Heels as a series regular, Diego Cottonmouth. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Robby. We're also going to welcome in Rather Be Squidding, who's a UFO enthusiast and researcher. His YouTube channel, Rather Be Squidding, focuses on cutting-edge science, technology, and UAP news. And he actually got turned on the topic by that exact same New York Times report that you were referring to, Robby.
Yeah.
And real quick, it's Lou Elizondo's birthday.
It is not.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
UFO Garage just posted a happy birthday, Lou Elizondo. I mean, man, I hope he gets a really cool birthday present in that UAPTF report.
I'm refreshing constantly over here. No news yet.
No news yet. Yeah. So rather give everybody your theory as to why. First of all, Robby, can you stick around? Do you want to stick around?
I've got maybe 5 minutes because I got a daughter, dude. 3 months.
That's right. Congratulations. You have a daughter. And that was the other thing. It was like, you're supposed to come on this show earlier and then you couldn't because you're like, oh, I'm having a baby. I'm like, okay, that's a good excuse. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
That's fair.
So real quick, before we we'll get into all of these things. We're going to let Robby get back to his daughter. So Robby, do you have any other burning questions?
I think I'll leave them, man. I had some about the Skinwalker Ranch.
Ooh,
if you guys want to get into that, we can do it. But
can we finish in 5 minutes? The question is, can we? Let's try. First, ask the question, and then we'll contemplate on whether or not we can get in 5.
Well, no, more than anything. Well, actually, here we can do this. I want to know what are the outstanding details about that story, because where should I dive into it? You know, because there are so many different things I can look at or kind of research. But what's the one or the two things that I can kind of zero in?
I see Rather's face lighting up. You got an answer for that, Rather?
Well,
What would be the best place to look?
So I have a video on my channel, Rather Be Squidding, that investigates a angle that I think is way underlooked and hasn't really been popularized in the culture yet. And it's about the phosphate rock that the ranch is sitting in, and how a mine 30 miles away may be integral into the weird phenomenons happening there. I think other than that, Robert Knapp has a great book, Skinwalker. That's kind of the de facto, case of the history of the ranch. And other than that, it's a lot of
it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's tough because the access to the ranch is so limited. They don't let anybody on the ranch, and when they do, they don't really share the data that they collect, and so it's tough. They're making a TV show on there, but the TV shows, it's more reality TV than it is a genuine scientific expedition.
And really, if you want to know more, you should tune in Wednesdays at 4 p.m. here.
Yeah, and watch us make fun of the show, because we do. Yeah, Rather's a great plugger. All right, so Diego Cottonmouth, Robby Ramos, my man.
Yes,
dude, thank you so much for stopping by and getting weird and being sort of the first actor back in this post-COVID thing. Dude, there's so many other discussions I want to have about, especially about politics, but we can't have that on this show. It's just, but I'm interested because I listened to the show, the MIA show, and I was like, yeah, I bet he's got the same kind of politics I do. And I'm not sure how well you would get along with people in LA. Because hey, we grew up, our story is, a lot of people don't know the Cuban struggle.
No,
it's driven a real mindset into us about about a lot of things. But anyway, brother, real quick before you go, please tell everyone where you can find your stuff, when and where Heels is going to premiere, and of course the door is always open for you to come back and hang, man, anytime. Oh wait, I do. I meant to do that.
It's all good. First of all, thanks for having me, guys, man. Yeah, like I said, I've been watching the show off and on, tuning in every once in a while, so I'm happy to be here too. August 15th, that's when Heels drops on STARZ, and then it'll run for 8 weeks after that. It's got the first 8 episodes are coming out. At the Robby Ramos on Instagram and Twitter, and that's it, man. You guys can reach out, talk to me, and we can talk UFOs, man. I love this, dude. I love this chat.
Dude, yeah, I'm glad you got to come hang out, and when either we'll do maybe we could do a watch party for Heels or something for either the premiere or the
that'd be dope.
Or not the premiere, dude, because the premiere you're gonna be with your family, you're gonna be with your friends. Don't do that on this show, please, God. I can't even believe I just even suggested that. But maybe like a mid-season something, episode I'm not gonna take season or episode 1 or episode 8. We'll do something in between there. Maybe tell me if there's an episode in between there that you're heavy in, and then we can bring you back in and we'll talk about it. We'll plug the show. All right, but man, well, thank you again, dude, and
thank you guys.
Get out of that tie. Don't ever wear a tie, especially in Florida. I know you're sweating, dude. I know you're sweating. All right, my man.
All right,
hey, nice to meet you, Robby. Appreciate it, brother.
Guys, thank you so much, man.
All right.
What a great dude.
Yeah, fantastic.
What a great dude.
I'm looking forward to that show, too. I need some good non-UFO watching to kind of calm me down at times.
Yeah. No, we definitely do. So, yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out through that, because I know it wasn't a UFO show for the first half hour, and I want, like I said, I want to bring in some more, especially when it comes to the comedians and stuff. Like, we're gonna have some great laughs, especially when we start talking about the weird topic of UAPs. So expect to see a little bit more of this. It's not gonna be every week, but we're going to do this. And I think it was fun. And I love learning about Robby and his struggle and his triumph in this business. I need to hear stuff like that for my mental sanity. I need to hear about people succeeding. And it's, it's just bless them, dude. I think it's awesome. I think it's really fun. So, all right, what are we going to get into first here, gentlemen?
I think, what about the, rather, you've been hitting refresh on the UAPTF report, yeah?
Nothing yet.
Yeah,
right?
It's still nothing yet. I'll let you know. If I see something, I'll scream it as loud as I can.
Okay. Okay. So there's let me list the things that we can go over, and maybe we'll just see in the chat what people want to talk about. So we've got the TMZ UAP classified report of Congressman Tim Burchett talking about UAPs and the classified report that I think he just looked at. We've got the UAP UFO video of the day. We've got Christopher Mellon's tweet, which we have to finish. There's still like 15 things that we never went over. And then we've got Maria Bartiromo interviewing Marco Rubio for the last minute of her show. It was okay, but it was so awkward. I just had to point it out to somebody. I figured, why not the 63 people watching right now? So what do you guys think?
Let's see the awkward moment with Rubio.
Okay, yeah. Let's see the awkward moment. Okay, that sounds fun, right? Okay, let's see.
Face-to-face meeting yesterday in Geneva. The two leaders touched on a range of topics, apparently including national security, human rights, and cybersecurity.
You're going to push it to the end, right?
Both highlighting cybersecurity issues in their separate press conferences following the summit. Watch.
Yeah, it's at the end.
Okay. Sorry. Here we go. I thought it was at 12:30. Here we go.
Intelligence Committee, a classified briefing on UFOs yesterday. Senator, we've spoken on this topic before, and what we learned from yesterday was that these UFOs cause a pressing threat to America's national security, as the highly classified briefing apparently were things that those people did not know before. Do you believe that these unidentified flying objects are new technology from our adversaries?
I hope they're not. I don't know what they are. I don't think the Navy or the intelligence community knows what it is. But I think the point is you're never going to find out if you don't start looking. For many years, it was just being ignored. It was like, it doesn't make sense. We've never seen it before, so don't report it. We don't know what it is. Look, we don't need a report to tell us it's a national security threat. It's flying over restricted airspace, and it isn't ours.
Right. And they're flying over restricted areas. Well, we'll know more, I guess, in a couple of
I think
weeks.
she like.
I think, well, here's what happened. I think she wanted another question about it, and the producer started the music like almost right when Rubio started speaking. So she's like, why the hell look at her face. She's like, why are you ending my show? Like, well, who said to run the music a minute into the damn ending? Yeah. Like, you know, like, this is, that's something you usually play like, 10, 15 seconds in, but maybe they were just rushing her through the question.
I got that impression as well.
Like,
her producer threw her off and she's like, what
I think
are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? We didn't agree on this. I mean, just let's go back to her face.
Ignored. It was like, it doesn't make sense. We've never seen it before, so don't report it. We don't know what it is. Look, we don't need a report to tell us it's a national security threat. It's flying over restricted airspace, and it isn't ours.
Right. They're flying over restricted areas. Well, we'll know more, I guess, in a couple of weeks.
Well, I guess. Look at her. She's like, well, I guess I'm not going to ask my second question, Terry.
Senator, it's good to see you.
Look at her. She doesn't sound like
follow up.
Yeah, that doesn't need a follow. I mean, listen, but can we just listen to what the senator said real quick, because I think it's important. I mean, he did make a pretty cool statement.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing he's been saying for a long time now, but I think it's important because we're continuing to have the conversation and we're going, hey, look, we don't need a PTF report to know these things are out there. We know they're out there. The question is, what are they? And it doesn't seem like anybody knows.
Right. And I mean, again, like if this was, if this was a case of the government trying to pull a fast one, or if this was a case of the government trying to play the same UFO UAP game they've been doing for the last 7 decades, they wouldn't be talking like this. They wouldn't allow senators to be speaking like this. I mean, it would just be a simple, nothing to it.
Well, yeah, if you believe that it's a government device, that you have to kind of believe that the military is lying to Congress, which is a very dangerous game for them to be playing. Like, they can go to jail for that. That's not something that they would typically do.
I mean, here's the thing, though. I would love to see anybody go to jail. When was the last time you saw a government official taken away in handcuffs and sent to prison?
I mean, Watergate, people went to jail, right?
That's right, but how long ago was that?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
It still happens. You have leakers who go to jail. You have
sure. I mean, Edward Snowden's pretty much in jail. I mean, Julian Assange. I don't know why he's in jail, but he is.
I think there was someone in the GWB administration that went to jail as well. I think that there is some accountability.
I mean,
it's few and far between. But
I think what do they call them? Not henchmen, but like the underlings are the ones who get in trouble and go to jail. But once that investigation hits real power, it stops, So I just don't know. Yes, you're right. The military lying to Congress would be an arrestable offense. But do you really see Congress arresting anybody, representative from our military or the military industrial complex, like a real person of power, like a general?
I think it could. I think this whole IG evaluation, really points to the fact that they're trying to take some of this stuff seriously and they're actually looking into it. And when you have Congress alerting the IG to say, hey, go look into this, then people start to get a little scared and nervous and go, shit, this really could go down if we play this wrong and act in an illegal way. So I don't know. I don't know that anybody would actually be charged with anything, but I definitely know that they better get their shit together and stop fucking around with Congress, because Congress does have teeth.
And this is something they're lying. If they are lying, they're lying about national security to Congress, right? Like, that's almost sedition and treasonous behavior. Like, Congress has to have the right.
But who do you arrest? Who do you put in front of like, you know what I mean? Like, if that is the case, that means that order came from very high. I'm just wondering. I wonder where the buck stops. You know what I mean? Like, does it?
Yeah, I wonder that too. I hope we find out. What? I hope we don't find out.
I hope we don't find out. Yeah, because that means they're lying. Yeah. Well, I don't want it to get there either. But I mean, you know, if anyone from the government is listening, you understand why we don't trust you, right? Like, you get it, right? And you know what I love? Oh, that reminds me, dude. I've heard, not only on The Hill, but on the new show that Sager and Jetty and Crystal Barr are doing, Burning Points, I believe it's called.
Breaking Points?
Breaking Points. And I love it, but they're like, Crystal Ball had pointed out that she's like, look how much trust the government won with just a little bit of UAP information. She's like, can you guys imagine how much trust you would win if you were even more honest? It doesn't take a lot. Like, it really doesn't. Like, it doesn't. Like, if they gave us one whole video, just one, how much we would believe them going forward on everything. If we can get the whole version of the Tic Tac, or the gimbal, or the Go Fast with some radar and somebody who explains what's happening with facts. Dude, what? You want a budget approved? Yeah, sure, go ahead, no problem. You want to bomb Afghan? All right, yeah, okay, all right. No, like, we would be so focused on that, and they could get away with murder, literal murder. They could do they could pass any budget they want, because it's like, the American people are not going to care. They're going to be so fascinated and so transfixed with this UFO information or revelation. And I think, you know, like, she's right. Like, the amount of trust that these networks, I think, are going to start doing this more. But the government has a golden opportunity to get people to trust them again right now, like with a bipartisan issue. And it's crazy to say that's UFOs, but it is. It is.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, you look at both the left and the right wing over the past 20 years, and it has come from both sides. It is not just a one-sided issue. It is weird as of late that, you know, a lot of this did start breaking on Fox News, so it was very much on the right. But, you know, you've got Senator Harry Reid and these, you know, folks who have been around for quite a while, who have been interested in this on both sides of the aisle. So I don't know, man. It's interesting. I don't expect much from expect much from the report, but I definitely expect people to continue to be paying attention. And whether or not we see this come to a point where it's like, okay, the mainstream is tired of this conversation after the 180-day report, that's what I think we need to be most concerned about, is losing public interest if and when the report turns out to be a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, so Michael, I know that you're pessimistic about the report. I'm going to post something on the screen and see if this makes you any more excited.
Ooh, okay.
What do you think about that? What could that be?
I think Jeremy Corbell is a master marketer, and but hey, listen, man. He drops it, I eat it up. Okay, listen. I don't have any issues playing this game with Jeremy Corbell. He can. Yeah, just give me more. I don't care. I'll take more data. You know, and if he's got something interesting when that comes out, awesome. Like let's see it. I
mean, dude,
yeah, I gotta say, I like that strategy of releasing it after the official government, to not to preempt it, but kind of supplement it. I'm all for that. I'm anticipating that.
Dude, if you want to give me jazz hands after your performance, give me jazz hands. You know what I mean? And this is what this is. This is just jazz hands before the drop. I'm fine.
If the drop comes out on
no matter how many people complain about it, no matter how many people bitch about it, he's gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well just laugh about it.
Used to it.
Don't get mad, Sprague. We know the routine, dude. It's fine. It's fine. You want to do high noon? Fine. I love NBC did this the other day. Nobody bitched about it, but I pointed it out. NBC had hinted I think who was it? It wasn't Gaddy. It was somebody else that hinted, big news on this front coming, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. And I was like, yeah, high noon, but with eggs. It's nobody busts NBC's balls when they do this with their stories. So why are you busting his chops? Just let the dude do his thing. It's working. It's just more data. Why are we getting mad at more data? Even if it's incomplete data, why are we getting mad at more data?
At whatever the fuck you want. I don't care.
Sure.
Honestly, I'm just saying, for me, I've just grown accustomed to dealing with.
Right. We know this. We've been to this party, you guys. Why are we walking into this party expecting anything different?
Right. Right.
It's just
he's not going to change.
Dude,
Corbell's
it's funny. It's funny, bro. It's fun. Let's have fun with this, man. If he wants to call it high noon drop, man. Awesome.
Oh, Sprague's just mad at his beard. That's all.
Oh, well, shit. I'm mad at that too because I can't grow in that glorious. I really can't. Did you see Robbie's beard?
Yeah, I was going to say, Robbie, I think might have a challenger for best beard.
I wish, dude. I wish. Look at this $4.20 donation. Thank you guys so much for the donation. This made me think of Jeremy's vids as chess pieces. Yeah, a little bit, if that's, or even just a puzzle that he might be building. Again, he's also let's give a little kudos to Jeremy. He's added a lot of layers to this incident that's happened off the coast of California. He's added radar, he's added pyramid photos, he's added deck times and teams and the people who, not the names, but the people who were there, the people who were filming, a lot of details that are all fun.
Hit Case for Infinities.
What do you think? This one? Hey, PT Barnum, quit making your circus sound so fun. Come on, man. Come on, dude. Just grab some popcorn and enjoy the circus, bro. If you're going to get the circus
Aaron
anyway.
Aaron Desario's not having it, though. Aaron wants nothing to do with the circus.
What does he say?
Oh, he said, it's right above that one. It's because it's the biggest story in history of mankind. It's fucking rude to drip it out like this. Dude, listen, guys.
It's the biggest story. Imagine if you had, look, dude. You had the biggest story of all time, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be 1,000,000% honest with you, just because I'm in a financial nightmare right now. If I had the biggest story in the history of man, and I could drip it out as slow as I want because I know nobody else has got the beat on this, I would do that. I would do that. So, and if you wouldn't do that, you might be a poor marketer, or you just have money, one or the other. I'm not sure.
It could be a strategic decision as well. Could be strategic too. I don't know if Corbell is actually in on this, but as far as Lou Elizondo, I read an interesting theory talking about how he's kind of slow rolling this stuff out.
Everybody is.
Well, there's the possibility that the truth is literally something that even us who are acclimated to this UFO environment would reject and say, no, that's completely insane unless we are gradually built into it with these theories of interdimensional stuff. And so it might be a slow roll to get our minds prepped for it and primed for it.
Excuse me. Me and Michael had an interesting conversation with a now friend of, hopefully we'll get him on the show soon. But he was saying, he was at a barbecue. And everybody at the barbecue is like, so what's the scoop? What's going on with UFOs? And he's like, well, I heard there was 14 different races visiting the planet and up to this, speculating. And everybody's like, wow, that's fascinating, amazing. What? And then he said, but then I also heard, that they might be able to see these things by projecting their consciousness into space and actually communicating with these things on a different level. And everybody at the party's like, get out of here. Essentially throwing remote viewing on the table, and everybody, they couldn't believe it. They couldn't fathom it. It's like, wait a second. So let me get this straight. You can fathom 14 different races coming to visit Earth, but you can't fathom remote viewing?
Which is really fascinating psychologically and from a perspective of disclosure, right? Because what does that actually mean? It means people are willing to look at they're willing to accept a physical being from another planet, but they're not willing to entertain the possibility of potential interdimensional and quantum possibilities. And so that's really fascinating, especially when you have Elizondo, who's out there dripping quantum physics and quantum entanglement and talking about these sorts of things. Now, the question is, are his motivations pure? And I don't think ever, and I get it, and I know everybody on here, they just want to know the truth, and I feel you, but I don't think you're ever going to find any single person who's involved in this process whose motivations are 100% absolutely pure. All they care about is disclosure. People are people. Humans are humans, and you have to take them as such. And if you can do that and then get the data, gather the data, and start piecing it together, then we can together start to put all this together. But man, I don't. Yes, exactly, Schoolcraft. Nobody's perfect.
Well, I think it's also just this idea that, remote viewing is not like a pop culture phenomena. It's not like we don't see remote viewing blockbuster films during the summer. You know what I mean? It's not. I think that idea of an alien invasion is way easier to accept, and I think this might be part of the problem as to why they're dripping this, because to just throw that remote view. Let's say remote viewing's right. Let's just speculate for a second. Yep, that's what it is. We could consciously connect with these things. We could talk to them. We can even fly their craft. They could talk to us. They could give us information. They could download things in our brain. Let's just say that whole thing is real.
Well, and that's not remote viewing.
Ultra-terrestrial. I mean, I'm just saying, like a conscious connection, right? Like, I'm just throwing remote viewing and all of these things sort of into one. The quantum entanglement theory. It's a lot more difficult to understand that, and how do you talk about that? How do you drip that out? How do you and I think Lou is doing it really nicely, just like you said, you pointed out. Like, he just drops these beautiful, mathematical nuggets where it's easy for people to digest the concept and the idea. And I mean, can you imagine if Senator Rubio used that example that he used of, putting on goggles that lets you see 98% of what actually is going on? This idea that you're getting bombarded at all times of your life constantly by things you cannot see. So like, I think those talking points, you're going to start hearing those talking points come over the years, I think, and maybe even sooner, because I think that's where this conversation has to go there. It can't just stop at, UFOs are real. Okay. And,
that's going to be the thing. And which is why, as Rather pointed out earlier, I'm not too stoked on the UAP report, because I think they're going to be like, well, how do we give as little information as possible to the public so they'll be appeased and stop asking questions? And I think that's kind
of where we are right now. Is UAP are real, UFOs are real, right? You don't know what the hell they are.
No, but here's the thing: we know that. Again, we're trying to get the how many million people?
The 93% of us that don't.
Yeah, the 98% of us that don't know that these things are 100% real. Like Robby didn't know they were 100% real and in our sky. Like that's an actual tangible thing. I think that's the first step. Getting everybody acclimated to that idea. And if the only thing that comes out of the report, again, and we've seen this. So again, manage your expectations, man. Remember, it took 4 years to verify that Lou Elizondo was 100% indefinitely, without a doubt, letter from Senator Reid, launched an IG investigation that he definitely worked for ATIP. It had to be said 400 times. Expect the same from this.
And 98% of America probably still doesn't even know who Elizondo is. All my friends don't.
They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know.
I was talking to somebody the other day who's in the community, and they were talking to their dad and like pointed Elizondo in the direction of their dad. And he was like, oh, I saw the Guy Fieri UFO guy on CNN the other day. That's your guy.
Welcome to Flavortown.
Welcome to Flavortown. Exactly. Welcome to UFO Flavortown. I mean, dude, it's like, this is what we had. This is why I'm telling people, just manage your expectations. And I think you got it right, Michael. Just expect nothing new. Like, expect to know everything that's coming out. Expect that. But what I think might happen is with this shift of paradigm, because everybody's waiting for this, right? And so when it comes out and it's said that okay, they're real. There's something there. It's not Chinese. It's not Russian. It's not Antarctican. They're there. They are real. 100%. Again, we all know this. We've all heard this. But once now the questions are going to really start flooding it. I think maybe then you start to see a shift in journalism where they go from asking silly questions to now going, okay, well, if it's not Russian, if it's not Chinese, what exactly are we dealing with here, and why can't we get more information and more data on these incursions? I mean, now we're hearing this is going back 70 years. So have you been lying this whole time? And if so, what data have you collected? Like what's like now the real questions start coming, you know? So that's a good thing. There's going to be a shifting in how to deal with this. So those are the things that you should be looking for. You know, again, don't expect the bodies, don't expect the craft, don't expect metals, don't expect any of those things. And we've heard for months now from Lou Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, for months we've heard them say, don't expect much, expect delays, expect nothing, like basically nothing new that you don't know.
What I will say is 2 months ago when I was talking to Tim McMillan about this, and I said, do you expect this report to be coming out in June? He said, absolutely not. Do not expect it. It's not coming. But what happened since then is a massive media engagement with this process, which Tim McMillan didn't expect. Nobody expected this. This was not so. This was kind of came out of nowhere, and now it's just picked up all this momentum and speed, which is a good thing. But to your point, we still should guard our expectations because again, and you know who I feel the worst for in this whole process? It's the people who are considered experiencers, the people who have all of this emotion and identity tied up in this process because they're the ones who can't separate themselves. But also I have the luxury of separating myself. I can separate myself from the results of disclosure. But some of these folks who have had experiences which I can't explain, who are deeply emotionally invested in this, they can't separate themselves. And that's who I feel for the most in all of this.
Well, it's not so much emotion, it's trauma inflicted.
Yes, that's my exactly
like trauma, like legitimate trauma, and they're being ignored. And I'm really starting to like. That's why I wanted James Ian Doley on the show. Like we need to start. If this is the channel where we figure out how to have the abduction conversation with it not going to Flavor Town, then, you know, like this is the channel. I'm going to try and do that. Like this, we need to have a more open mind because now we're at the point, okay, well, if UFOs are real, that's the fact. We're all on the same page here, right? UFOs are real. What else is true? What else is true? You know, have the people been being abducted? Did you know about this? Why haven't you told us? You know, like, is there a certain class of people? Is it true that they specify bloodlines and like all of a bunch of really hard questions are going to have to start being asked, and they've been asked, and they've been like people have been screaming this at the top of their lungs for the last 50 years about this phenomena, this abduction phenomenon, and it's been ignored, it's been ridiculed, even with you know, a Ralph Blumenthal and a professor from Harvard writing papers and doing research on this is swept under the rug as he's cuckoo, he's crazy, his techniques are bullshit. And it's just like, man, you can't say that today. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't do that anymore.
Right. And I don't know what you guys make of the whole Sam Harris thing being reached out to by CIA who's left. But the one thing that I do really appreciate about one of the things that Sam Harris did say was that he made a point that he and other intellectuals needed to stop bashing experiencers, needed to stop making comments on things that they have yet to investigate. And I think that's an important point as well.
It's funny. I'm starting to hear that a lot. That's the message I'm starting to hear. Like I said, I heard it today from Leslie Kane, you know, and we've heard it from Lou Elizondo. You know, this conversation's coming.
One thing that's positive that comes out of this, even if we don't get a ton of new information, it's going to be the stigma being reduced, you know, and not only will that help people who've already been telling their tales, hopefully they can get some solace in other people actually believing them. But I think it'll also encourage a lot of people who maybe haven't told their story at all to come out, and we'll be able to connect a lot more dots there. And, additionally too, I think it'll encourage having a intelligent conversation about this stuff.
Right.
For example, it might not be a physical phenomenon. I believe the abductors, I don't think any of them are lying to us. But there's
some of them
possibility.
Yeah. Some of them are.
Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah. But most people, you can kind of tell if they're being truthful and real experience or not. And, if I discuss with one of them that maybe it is inside your head, I'm not trying to say that your experience isn't right. I'm trying to say that maybe this is a really profound consciousness link, and you are still in your bed, but your mind, your consciousness is literally elsewhere interacting with who knows what.
Well, and this is what we don't, and this is what we don't know. And this is what I want to talk to Avi Loeb about on Tuesday when he joins us at the Singularity Lab, because I think we need to be studying these things in ways we haven't, because we truly don't know the mechanisms for consciousness. We truly can't reduce human consciousness down to brain chemicals. It's just not, we've not proven it. And
we don't even know why we sleep.
Right. And we need to be exploring alternative understandings of this, especially when we don't understand the depths of the weirdness of the quantum world. And so we have all of these things, and we need lots of different hypotheses. Just because, somebody comes out and tries to make, you look at some of these folks who write books about quantum healing and all these sorts of things, who are making money grabs for this sorts of things. Yes, that does happen, but we should still take the hypotheses and put it up against rigorous scientific testing rather than just dismissing it outright. And I think that's what we all can do a much better job of when it comes to bringing these things to the academic field. And hopefully they start to open up, and we can have some of these bigger questions and bigger hypotheses brought to the table.
Well, I think you rather nailed it right on the head. I think the number one mission of this report, of all of this media blitz attention, is to kill and destroy stigma. That is mission number one. I mean, we heard it from Alex Dietrich the other day. She's
That's her.
The only reason I'm doing this is to kill stigma and taboo. And that's the mission. That is mission number one. I feel like once we do that, now we can really open the floor up to have some cool conversations. Because when Sam Harris is not making fun of abductees, when Joe Rogan's not making fun of abductees, when I'm not making fun of abductees, that's when the conversation is going to have a massive, massive shift. And you're right, rather, it needs to be had in an intellectual, calm manner where people shouldn't be afraid to share their stories. They shouldn't be afraid. This is something we have to tackle. We're going to have to. But right now, mission one, before we get there, is kill stigma. Make sure that our pilots and military officials can report these things without fear of getting demoted or fired or in trouble or ostracized. Once the military gets to that point, I think you're going to start seeing a lot more videos, because right now that whole apparatus is so damn scared of this topic, and they have been for 70 years. And we have to convince them it's okay to talk about this. It's okay. This is a conversation that it's time to be had. And
with that conversation, not everything is going to be a UAP.
Right.
We have to be okay with fighter jets, saying
making
they saw
mistakes.
Something. And making mistakes, turning out to be something else.
And
that's
not every person,
okay.
right? And not every person who says they were abducted was abducted. And I think we have to be honest about both sides of the story, but destigmatizing is the most important thing. And if we can do that, that takes us a long way. When we talked to Ralph Blumenthal, one of the things that we asked him was, should we be separating these two topics, UAP and UFO, or UAP, UFO, and abduction? And he said, yes, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be studying both. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be destigmatizing both. Right. We can't, we can make hypotheses, but we can't prove these things unless we're taking them seriously.
Yeah. Real quick, Jack Ryan asks, what do you all think about the think tank Skyfort? Man, we've gone back and forth on this a lot. I think it's a entity very similar to the STARZ, but without the band. And I think their main focus is going to be now reaching out to the Neil deGrasse Tysons, the Sam Harrises, the Michio Kakus, the scientific flavor makers of the time, and really start to reach out to them and get interviews and get conversations going and point them to some good research and some good evidence. I think you're going to start seeing those kinds of scientists slowly change their tune. I cannot wait till I hear this come out of the mouth of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I don't think it ever will. I
bet you know what?
How
this
much?
is a fun bet.
How much?
Let's do friendly bet of $5.
Okay.
I bet, and I don't know the time frame. I mean, we can put parameters on this bet, but I think at some point,
never. He's
okay,
never.
You say never. I say he's going to change his tune. He's not going to like it, but he's going to have to.
Well, if you're saying never, I mean, I'll never have to pay you back, so I'm going to take Lewis's side on this. But
yeah.
I am with you anyway.
I see.
Yeah, and look, remember, I keep saying, like, this is. I think we've moved into the year 2000, the equivalence of the marijuana discussion. Like now, and look, let's play this new clip from this senator or the congressman. Tim Burchett. We have which video is it, guys?
Real quick, while you're doing that, I wanted to agree with Aaron quickly. I think that's exactly right, and that's what you said, Luis. He's, he got out. Skyfor was all about doing something similar to what TTSA was doing without Tom DeLonge. That's my opinion. And yes, Sean Cahill is involved in that, and yes, Jake Mann is involved in that.
And I'll say it sounds more like kind of like a media outreach, like you were saying, Luis, rather than a think tank. I think that we already have a pretty great think tank in the SCU out there, which is actual real scientists.
Also,
stuff.
UFO Twitter is a great think tank.
Yeah,
like
sure
I
enough.
mean, honestly, it is. It really is. And that's something I've had to walk back to, because when I first started hearing about UFO Twitter, all I would hear is, "Oh, there goes UFO Twitter again. There goes UFO Twitter again." And don't get me wrong, you have your moments, and they're always hilarious, but they mean well. Like there's a lot of really great people in that Twitter sphere that add so much great information and depth and nuance. And so those are, it's a great time to be alive, because we could throw these ideas to each other. That's what Twitter is good for, is to throw the ideas out there, maybe have a disagreement, but I just wish when there was a disagreement, we'd come together and have the conversation and talk it out. And
that's why we got Mick West coming on Monday. And if you guys have any, we're going to have the opportunity to ask him some of these questions, and we want to go deep. We want to be like, we want to figure out the things that he's specifically saying and talk about those rather than just, ideological blah, blah, blah. We need, so if you guys have thoughts, ideas, make sure you hit us up in the Discord channel. All you got to do is click on our links, click us in Discord. Maybe you could actually rather create a channel for questions for Mick West, and we can play with those in Discord.
You want to take a quick bet on whether we will be able to change Mick West's mind on Monday?
Oh, that's a definite no. I'm gonna take the under on that one. I'm gonna take the under.
Change Mick West's mind.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. But I mean, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to try.
I do believe that there's probably is irrefutable proof that the government has that there are real strange things going in the sky beyond what they've shown us already. And I think that if they do put up and show us that, it will potentially change the mind of Mick West and Neil deGrasse Tyson's among us.
I mean, look, I've said they're going to have to change their mind.
Yeah, if they want to be science communicators, if the science shows.
I mean, at some point, the science is going to be there. The data will be there. I'm sure of. When? I don't know. But I know that data is eventually going to show up, and I think it's going to be soon, like within the next 5 years. And he's going to have to. He's going to have to. I mean, that's kind of what Alex Dietrich was, in a way, telling him. Open your mind, because there's a lot of things out there that are very, very weird, but they're now starting to become science facts. So, like I said, he's painting himself into a very lonely corner. But do we have the video of that congressman? I thought we ripped it, right? Or it was a TMZ video, right?
I can pull it up here.
Yeah, we had.
We couldn't rip it.
It was
remember?
Embedded, but I thought we had the.
We got the link.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, Rather's got the link.
So real quick, while Rather's pulling that up,
I love how Jack Ryan's going all in on this dragon thing. Did you see? He said, "Follow me on Twitter at."
No, I missed it.
At Brian Arnold.
Oh, did he? I missed it, dude. I totally missed it.
But it's actually not. It's not.
Okay, yeah, okay, I see it. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter at Brian Arnold. Dude, I've already followed you, bro. Dude, it's him. It's him.
No way.
It's him. I love that he's a fan of the show, dude. Like,
It's
I mean,
not,
if it
it's
is
not
him,
it's not the dragon.
I don't know.
Whoever he is,
I don't know.
He's fine by
Whoever
me.
is, he's cool. He's definitely fine by me. No, that's without a doubt. I think that's for sure. All right, let's play this video.
What do you think about all this UFO stuff going on right now?
I think we need to get to the bottom of it. It's pretty intriguing. I don't know what it is, but anytime you have legitimate pilots describing something that doesn't seem to conform to the laws of physics that govern aviation and is in U.S. airspace, I think it's something we need to get to the bottom of.
Right, but you know, like they always say, the conspiracies at Roswell. There's a lot of alien bodies in there. Anything? Can you tell me the truth? You're on the Intel committee. Is there anything in there?
Pause it real quick. I'm sorry. Pause it real quick.
In Roswell.
I mean, I know it might sound like a silly question, and some people are rolling their eyes.
I am.
But understand who's asking the question.
It's TMZ.
It's TMZ. But more importantly, forget about it's TMZ. This is just a regular schmo trying to get answers on things he barely knows about, clearly. Like, if he knew about this topic, that would not be the first question or the second question.
Oh, look who he's at. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be constructed better. I like this because these are off the cuff questions. These are questions I think are being maybe asked around the water cooler because people heard, oh, Roswell. Oh, I heard there's alien bodies there. Did you? Yeah. They covered them in the 50s. It's a big thing. I don't know. So people, they've got little tastes of the story. You know what I mean?
I prefer Carl Mann's question. Excuse me, sir. Are there any AI printed grays in your house?
That's an excellent question. That's an
far superior question, Carl.
I mean, well, Aaron Desario hates the question because he's like, you're not going to get a straight answer. I know you're not going to get a straight answer. That's not the point, Aaron. The point is the question's being asked. The guy, a senator or a congressman, is walking down the street, and the questions that are being asked are all about UFOs, Roswell, aliens. This is exactly where we want it to be.
But do you think
questions
that actually,
are silly right now?
I actually don't think that lends credibility to the topic. I actually think it distracts from credibility.
It's not about credibility. It's about word of mouth. People watch TMZ. You know what I'm saying? It's about getting this idea out there that this is a real concept. Whether or not the questions are hard-hitting, whether or not the statements are hard-hitting, I think in a way they are, because he's saying, it's a national. He's saying the same thing Marco Rubio's saying, essentially.
And
but
these are the questions.
Yeah, go for it, Ralph.
These are the questions people have, right? Like, you gotta ask these silly questions.
Right. We have, dude. We're good. Look, if you're getting pissed off now and you're getting your eyes rolling now, dude, get ready for a lot more of this. Because what do you think's going to happen when The View does an hour on this? Or
They did. It was horrible. It was a
hour.
show.
A full hour. They do a segment. They do this. Eventually, I think this is going to get to full hour story. Because, or maybe even a straight 24 hours, because who knows? I mean, dude, one piece of mega information and this takes over the news stream for weeks, months, possibly.
UPR being a 24/7 news network?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen, I think. Yeah. Eventually, it's gonna have to. So, like, this is gonna be the, Peter Layden said yesterday. This is the wild card. Like this is a possibility on the table that maybe it's not gonna be up to the government when this information becomes widely known. And if that does happen that way, they're gonna be forced. They're gonna have to. They're just gonna have to. But yeah, let's keep watching.
Bigger thing to worry about if it's a foreign government or if it's aliens.
Oh, option B, much bigger thing to worry
about. You think the aliens would be worse?
I cannot imagine if we have if there is a foreign government that had these kinds of capabilities. I think we would see other indications of advanced technology. I can't imagine that what has been described or shown in some of the videos is belongs to any government I'm aware. I'm not really a betting man, but the way these things operate, they certainly, you wouldn't want a human being or any living creature in something that moves that fast and changes direction that quickly. So like I said, I have no idea what it is, but I think we should figure it out.
That wasn't even Tim Bridget. Let the next one play. I think the next one's even more.
I know right
this
now,
one. This is the one I wanted to see.
President Biden, when he's going to speak to Putin, that he's talking. He's going to ask him about the UFO things and stuff like that.
I think that's ridiculous. If the Russians had UFO technology, I mean, they would own us right now. They used to say that. I've heard people talk about how the Nazis had it in the Second World War. But if they did, they would have won. That is ridiculous. It has to be something that's out of our galaxy. It just has to be if it in fact is real.
I mean, can we stop that for a second? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Who was that?
Are you kidding me?
Who was that?
That was Tim Burchett.
From
Tennessee. He's a congressman from Tennessee.
House of Representatives?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. But
dude,
I mean, I know
these are the questions.
We also have some numbnuts in Congress. Let's be real about that too.
I mean, he's clearly wrong in that it's out of our solar system is probably what he meant to say. And that who knows, and he's still playing to that safe route of extraterrestrial hypothesis, right? Like that's still kind of the wildness, the extent that these people are willing to go. No one's saying interdimensional in Congress quite yet.
But again, I will say, I will absolutely concede to hear a congressman talking about whether he said galaxy or solar system, like, who cares? The reality is he's saying it's off-world. That's what he's saying. And to actually hear a congressperson say that, that's pretty wild.
He doesn't stop there. He doesn't stop there. Okay. What were you going to say? Sorry.
The first guy, when he talked about videos, do you think he's talking about the videos we've already seen, or is he talking about new videos that he saw?
Well, he's been briefed on a different kind of intelligence.
Yeah, he was just briefed yesterday.
Right. So that's why these guys are all at. But listen, look at where we're at. Okay. Congressmen are walking down the street and getting peppered UFO questions. Okay, like just step back from your eye rolling for 1 second, Desario, and just love that. Love that. And if you know what, send Desario a link if he wants to get in here for the last 3 or 4 minutes and give us his opinion. But let's play the rest of this. Oh wait, sorry.
I know when it's been bipartisan, but the one thing I've noticed is it doesn't matter which president it is. Nobody ever talks about the.
They always say they're going to do something about it, and then they get in office And honestly, I thought Trump was going to do something. I was going to release the files, but they release these files are redacted. It's just a big blob of whiteout, and it's clearly something's going on that we can't handle. I mean, UFOs were in the Bible. Read Ezekiel. It talks about the wheel flying around.
Oh shit!
They've been around since we've been around, and
so even when something's supposed to be released coming up in a few weeks or months.
The TMZ dude just walked right past that.
I believe it. I think Roswell was covered up. I think.
Listen to this.
More people believe in UFOs than believe in Congress for good reason because of the Jack Leg stuff we do like that. We talk about we're going to release it and then we never do, or we release something that's so redacted that it's just ridiculous. The Air Force had a release on Roswell, which was the big deal, I think, from '48, and the big cover up there. And the guy that did it was a smart aleck, and he kind of smirked the whole time, and nobody took it serious. They ought to take it serious. The American public wants to know, and frankly, we deserve to know.
I think at some point it's gonna happen, man.
I think so too. I think they're going to release that. I think somebody's going to release stuff. The Kennedy assassination files. They're going to do it all, but we haven't had a president with enough guts to do it just yet.
I mean,
wow.
Dude, look at this. I mean, the TMZ audience is like, say what? They are. After they hear that?
That's wild. Ezekiel's wheel each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change directions as the creatures went.
Mm-hmm. It also describes a creature with 3 faces, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What it looked a lot like to me was like the metallic blimp, and like those series of pictures really kind of brought the Ezekiel's wheel to mind to me. So he might be onto something.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Dude,
but it's kind of cool to hear people, because I've always been most concerned with like evangelical Christians when it came to this topic. Even the Catholic Church is like, they're like, okay, well, if it's out there, Jesus is still Jesus, and just calm down. And they've tried to get ahead of this thing, but like I've always been concerned about the evangelicals getting behind this. But that's pretty damn interesting,
dude. I think that's the Jubilant June right there, man. I mean, that's one day, and I have a feeling there's more videos. I just haven't had a chance to get to all of them. But I mean, damn, dude. Yeah, I mean, damn. Oh shit. Hold on. Let's invite Desario. Did you send him a link?
I didn't know.
Okay, hold on a second. Does anybody? I don't think I've ever messaged him privately.
Invite.
Yeah, can you send him in the invite?
I don't know if I can send.
So real quick, you know what? Let's see. Should we just send the invite? I mean, we're at 3:00 right now. We should
throw it in there live.
Yeah, you just threw it in the live. I was gonna say, let's just throw it in the live. All right. Anybody who wants to pop in the show, just pop in right now.
We are wrapping up.
We are wrapping
dinner
up.
Plans.
Okay, dinner plans. What time is it over there? 6 o'clock. Okay. All right, so yeah, we'll do maybe 5 or 10 minutes. If anybody wants to call in, Desario, pop in here now. If you want to start the music,
wasted no time.
No, oh, there he goes. Rather, if you want to start the tunes, we'll get this going, man. All right, Aaron, what do you got?
What do I got? So I'm really frustrated with this drip. I've said this 100 times, and Oh, that's your outro.
Yeah. Just turn it down a little, rather, just a little bit. There we go.
And so I think Corbell, who's not a member of the government, certainly has no jurisdiction to decide what I should know. I don't think the government even has that jurisdiction. So Corbell certainly doesn't have that level of trust, and he shouldn't be dripping that information out. He should throw out what he's got.
But do you think that part of the way he's doing it is because he wants to double check everything, or do you think it's purely marketing?
I think there's three things. It's both of those, as well as concern for security, things like non-disclosure agreements or information that was obtained.
So then why can't you cut him some slack on this, Desario?
Because he's dropping stuff that isn't secure, right? It isn't top secret.
Right.
He's dropping stuff that is unclassified.
But that's okay, because he shouldn't have access to top secret stuff. I think we can all agree to that, right?
Sure. But I mean, he says, I have something I'm going to drop after the report.
Yeah.
Clearly that is something that is unclassified, because he's not going to release classified information. Why is he waiting until after the report, except to create a splash for himself?
That's all. That's exactly what he's doing. There's no doubt. I mean,
well, yeah, I think he'd make more of a splash if he announced it today, right? Like the UAP report is going to take a huge.
You do not know how marketing works, Squid.
That's true. That's true.
Or he may not be allowed to make that much of a splash for himself, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, we talked about this. Why don't you get mad when NBC does it?
I'm not sure that I have many cases where they have, or at least they don't trail it out for very long, right? They'll tease their evening program, or they'll tease something coming up this weekend, but they're not going to tease, hey, we have some information that we're going to release to you once the government says, releases their report. They wouldn't do that. They would release it right away.
Or they wouldn't tease it.
Or they wouldn't tease it at all.
I mean, dude,
nothing about it.
I feel like they've teased reports and have given,
right, but not in a sort of if-then scenario. Not in saying we've got this. When this happens, we'll give it to you.
Do you think Jeremy has then leaked the report? Do you think he knows what's coming up?
I'm not sure how much of that report is even going to come out to the public right away. It's not for us, right?
Right.
The report is to Congress. And so it's going to have to leak out of Congress first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's funny. I mean, but how great would it be if Senator, what's his face from Tennessee, was just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this.
So far, Jeremy has delivered. So I'll keep visiting his fetish parlor.
That's probably a great place to
Oh man, dude,
I appreciate everyone willing to have fun with us on this topic.
Yeah.
Like, we've gotten heat before, and I'm not going to name names. We get heat sometimes for people going, this is a serious topic and you shouldn't be laughing. It's like, if we're not having a good time through this whole process, dude, imagine how stressed we'd all be.
We'd be so stressed. Said it best, right? If I'd be crying, I'm not sure what it was, but I'd be crying if I wasn't laughing.
Exactly.
All right,
Aaron, we just popped in.
We're gonna say goodbye to Aaron because we got one more guest before. Oh, he disconnected because he's on the road. You're on the road, man. I don't think it's gonna work, Kevin Childress. As much as I'd love to see your sweet face in here, I don't think it'll happen because I saw he was in a car.
You're right.
We'll give him
Derek.
another
I think
minute.
The aliens actually do have a sense of humor. At least everything I've seen, they prank us all the time.
Yeah, let's hope.
They do. I think they do a little more than prank, but that's a whole nother discussion. All right, well, we'll give him a couple minutes if he pops in here before we get out of here. We'll pop up Kevin Childress. But Aaron, thank you so much for stopping by, giving us your opinion on this, and I'm going to be in contact with you soon because we want to have you on this show as well because I love your perspective. It's always fun. So we'll see you soon, bud.
Great, thanks for having me. Bye.
Yeah, no problem. All right, guys.
Jack Ryan, what is going on?
Jesus.
UAP task force doesn't come out till next week.
yeah, dude, just put it away, bro. Put it away. You don't want to overuse it. All right. Jesus. All right, Michael. What are we? Let's see. Kevin Childress just popped in. Let's see if we can get him in here.
God.
Let's see. Hold on, Kevin.
Hey, no worries.
Kevin,
I'm driving.
Yeah. Oh, wow. All right. Quickly, tell us what you want to say.
But I'm riding next to my lovely wife.
Okay.
What do I want to say? Well, somebody asked me, because I've kind of put myself as an experiencer. I was never abducted. I was able to make contact, but never taken out of or never kidnapped. All right, that was it, guys.
Oh, okay.
All right. Damn, that's a hell of a bomb. I mean, you got to come back and talk about this.
Well, I'm willing to invite me back sometime.
Of course we will. Yeah, of course we will. Next week's booked, but maybe the following week. Yeah, no, because I thought you've told us this story behind the scenes.
I thought we were doing this slow reveal, Childress, where you were going to tell us when you were ready.
Take your time, then.
When you wait, listen, let me finish. I thought you weren't ready to have this conversation online, and that's why we were so taken. But if you're ready to have this conversation,
no, I'm not afraid to have it online.
All right,
I just it's hard for people when some people won't listen anymore to the other stuff, right? Because of prejudice. So whatever they want to think, because I really had a solid work environment involved in this stuff. That may have been why.
Oh.
The
audio's going out.
No, it's I got a phone call. All right, guys.
All right, Kevin, we're gonna hear this story. We're gonna hear. Thank you for calling, Kevin. He's on the road. Look at dude, he's so adorable.
It's I got people calling me. It's hard to do it on the phone.
Yeah. No, we'll get you in a better setting to tell this story because I think it is. We've heard this story and it's cool.
It's cool. All right, man. Talk to
you
later.
Bud. Bye.
Thanks, Kevin.
I love it.
I totally thought, last time we talked to him, I didn't think he was ready to talk about this online yet.
Yeah, the understanding was, when I'm ready to go there, we'll talk about it.
He's ready.
He's ready. He's ready. Well, I can tell you right now, it's going to be a hell of a story, y'all. So again, ring the bell, like the channel, subscribe if you haven't already. I haven't even said that once today. Check out our Patreon, you guys. The Patreon, try to get me out of this Uber. I'm so close to not having to Uber ever again. The support has been tremendous from you guys out there. The Patreon, again, no matter how little or how much you pay, whether that's $0 or $500,000 a month, yes, it's a real tier. You get the same access to the show that everybody else does. We are gonna have in our little promo that we made. This weekend we're gonna work on it and make sure that we get a thank you for all the Patreons. And we're definitely going to thank you guys. We're going to show your names on the screen at the end of every show and at the beginning of every show because we want to make sure that you guys definitely are appreciated and loved, but you're not getting any extra access to the show. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for coming aboard Getting Weird. The sponsor, BlueMarlinChronicles.com, purveyors of the world's finest fishing tackle since '95. Want to say thank you to DOS Tapes. They provide all of the tunes you hear on the show. Their Bandcamp description is in the link below. Cristina Gomez is going live in 1 hour. So go check out Paradigm Shift. or shifting. I don't want to mess this up. I always feel like I mess up the name of her show.
Paradigm shift.
Paradigm shifts.
I think.
So you see, I always forget if it's the shifting the paradigm first or paradigm shifts. So it's shifting the paradigm, 4:00 on her channel. So go check it out. She's going to be interviewing again a Skywatch event. The people who are organizing that, we're going to get them here on the show as well. I want to help spread that message as much as I can. So stay tuned for that.
It's paradigm shifts, shifting the paradigm.
Paradigm shifts, shifting the paradigm. So go check out the show. And what else, Michael? What do we got next week?
Make sure if you want to hear Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb talk to us about the phenomena and how we can get this studied with the rigors of science. Join us on Tuesday at the Singularity Lab. All you got to do is click my link below in the Linktree. Click that button. Come check us out on the Singularity Lab. Subscribe and hit the bell. And also don't forget to go check out Rather Be Squidding. His links are below, and you can find his channel on YouTube as well.
Awesome. And yeah, also we have Mick West coming on Monday. That's going to be
Mick West coming on Monday.
I can tell you this, Jazz Shaw's not going to be in that conversation because I don't think that would go well.
All right,
no,
that wouldn't go well.
God,
that
no.
go well.
No.
I think we can all predict how that would go.
Yeah, I think that's we will represent Jazz Shaw in that conversation. I promise you, his viewpoint will be expressed. But yeah, so we're going to have Mick West Monday. We are going to have, check this out, Jason McClellan and Ryan Sprague on Wednesday. They're going to help us. I think they're going to help us with the Skinwalker Ranch review. They might stick around the whole 2 hours, so that'll be fun. And then on Friday, again, we're going to have, okay, I'll tell you one person I've confirmed, and that is philosopher Kent Bai. We did a Twitter discussion with him and Danny Silva, I think about a week ago, a little less than a week ago. He was amazing. What do you got to say about him, rather? I can see it on your face.
Yeah, no, I don't know much about him, but I'm.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. Okay, it looked like you did. But yeah, so that was my first interaction with him. He, from the short experience I've had, it sounds like he's an amazing mind to listen to. So that is guaranteed, and we're definitely going to be having Alex Sears as well on Friday. We're going to be breaking down the UAPTF report. What comes next, what kind of questions should be asked, what's revealed, what's not revealed, and what are we going to do going forward. So it's going to be a full 2 hours of nothing but UAPTF report. I'm still working on some other guests for that day, some big names. I was looking in the chats. I have a feeling now after reading some of the chats that we may not get one of the guests, but that's cool. We're still going to have great guests. We're still going to have an amazing conversation, so check it out. Ring the bell, like the channel, subscribe. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for checking out the Unidentified Celebrity Review. Your home for credible news, reviews, and commentary on everything UAP and UFO. Until next week, you guys. Peace. Woo!